Welcome to Metro Matters. Today, my guest is Monica Laquani. I want to say that correctly. And Monica is the Language Access Coordinator with our Office for Immigrant Affairs. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, talk to me before we dive into the topic, which is the Language Cafe. Talk to me a little bit about the Office for Immigrant Affairs.
So the Office for Immigrant Affairs, currently there are three of us. I was the last addition to it in November of last year. We do the Global Louisville Leadership Academy. We are there to provide resources for citizenship and naturalization services.
Okay.
We work with surrounding partners in the community. We are always providing resources or helping the immigrant or the refugee population that is here in Louisville.
You mentioned the Global
Louisville Leadership Academy.
Louisville Leadership. Tell me, what is that?
So my colleague Vivian Marin actually facilitates that.
Okay.
It is a specific program over a certain duration where individuals can apply to be a part of it. It's a cohort-based program where they start learning ways to support the immigrant and refugee community. And then at the same time, it's refugees and immigrants who are part of the program who can learn more about Louisville and learn how to be leaders within Louisville and have a voice and space here.
Awesome.
Yes.
And is this cohort once a year?
It's once a year.
And it's application based?
Correct. It is application based, and I believe the applications for that will be in the fall again.
And can you give us, do you have the website in case someone's listening would want to follow up and try to find out more information about that?
Correct. So our department is Office for Immigrant Affairs. Mm-hmm. So if you go under louisvilleky.gov and you click on our department, it not only has that information there for you,
okay,
but it also shares with you, the other projects and programs that we have that are happening.
Well, today, so you're the language.
I'm language access coordinator. Correct.
So talk a little bit about this Language Cafe, which is our topic for today.
Sure. So just I'm going to step back a little bit. Language access coordinator. It's an internal position primarily. So I make sure that I oversee the ordinance for every department within Louisville Metro government. So I review the language access plans on an annual basis.
And step back even further.
Okay.
Tell us about, Metro Council created an ordinance that says what?
So as part of that ordinance, anyone who has limited English proficiency and needs translations or interpretation, we make sure that we provide those.
Gotcha. Right. And so as the access coordinator, you oversee that.
I oversee that.
And
Correct.
So if one of our departments needs a translator or something like that, they call you?
Yeah, they can call me. So our department doesn't provide direct translations and interpretation, but we provide the resources. We provide contacts to communities, vendors. We provide those contacts to national vendor. So yes, where they can get something translated in Kinyarwanda, for example, or get a simultaneous interpretation present at an event or a speaker. So yes.
And so what about our community? So if our community, someone in the community is having an event and it's going to be a multilingual event and they need translators, could you give them, or are the resources on your webpage?
So what I have had done, again, I'm internal, so the position is internal, working with and supporting departments in Louisville Metro government. Mm-hmm. But I have had community members reach out to me and say, Monica, do you have, translation services for this, or do you all have a contact for this? Mm-hmm. And so I do provide those resources for them.
Okay. Because I'm sure, our city is becoming so diverse, and I'm sure that's really needed.
Correct.
It's good that you guys, I know you're internal, but that you can provide some external.
Yes, and the way I see it, you can't do internal language access without knowing the community or having a foot in the community to know what the needs are. So you have to be able to work with those community partners and know what languages are out there and what the needs are for the community. Which takes me to Language Cafe.
Which takes us to Language Cafe.
So Language Cafe, the idea came from, there are language cafes which exist in Europe, and that's where the idea originally, generated from for us. The idea is that an individual community member can step into a comfortable, relaxing atmosphere, comfortable, relaxing cafe-style space, right? Where you can go, you can have a little bit of a snack, you can have some coffee, and you can pick up some language skills. So if I want to learn a little bit more of Spanish or Portuguese, I can go in, I can meet the facilitators, sit at a table with them, get to know them, network with them, learn to say a few phrases, bom dia, right? And then be able to immerse myself in that language, ask the questions of the culture if I need to, and then walk away, learning something new, meeting somebody new, having my food and hunger and needs met at the same time, right?
Why is it important to learn a new language, or why should a person even want to learn?
For a few reasons. Off the top of my head, we're, like you said earlier, we're living in a diverse environment. We are in a city with over 100 nationalities and over 100 languages that are present here. And so it's good for us to learn, what we are living in, what our environment is like, and then to build those skills for us. Studies and research has always shown that if you learn a new language, you build confidence, you're improving your memory, right? You're enhancing your own global skills, global competency skills. So if that is all increasing, your communication skills are increasing, you're building who you are, right? So it has benefits on both sides. So it's very important to learn a new language. I'm 52, I'm still learning.
So how many different languages are available at the cafe? And I want to...
Sure.
And as a follow-up to that is, take me through what the cafe looks like. And we'll talk more about that.
So what we decided to do was choose immigrant-owned coffee shops. And so we have basically decided that the language cafes are going to be a part of an 8-week series. Okay. At least 2 weeks each in a coffee shop. So about 4 coffee shops around town. They're all immigrant owned. You walk in, let's say at 4 o'clock. You are sitting in the middle of a space that is providing you with some language opportunity in Spanish. You have that ability to either stay there, that capability of staying there and learning Spanish for the entire time, or in 30 minutes you could say, okay, I know what I need to know, let's try Arabic. And then you can move into another space in that same setting and learn some Arabic. So in 30-minute increments, if somebody wants to, they could change into another language, or they could keep the language that they are.
And how many different languages are available at these cafes?
Currently, we had to limit ourselves, again, based on funding and the languages that we would have. So we have Spanish, Portuguese, and Vietnamese happening on Tuesdays, and then 4 languages happening on Thursdays. So we'll have Somali and Arabic, Korean and French on Thursdays.
And why were these particular languages?
So there's a reason for it. Spanish, French, Arabic, and Somali, those 4 languages are one of our top 5 languages. So they are the languages that are frequently used within Louisville Metro government and that customers come to us, with for language proficiency needs or for language access services. So those were identified as that. The other languages like Vietnamese or Portuguese or Korean, these are language communities and communities that have been in Louisville and they are speaking that language. So not only are we providing the languages that we're often seeing, but we're also providing the languages where the communities reside within Louisville and we're interacting with them on a daily basis.
How many different languages are spoken in Louisville? Do you know?
Yes, so we have at least 100 different languages that are spoken.
And is Louisville isolated from the other cities in the United States, or is that typically what the number is throughout?
So there are variations of languages that are spoken depending on where you are. You might see more Asian languages out in the West Coast than you might see here. You might see a little bit more of Mandarin Chinese, for example, out on the East Coast than you might see here. But for the most part, those languages that you're seeing in Louisville are also languages that you're seeing across the nation. Is Louisville different or separated? I would say no. I think we are one of the top 10 who are receiving immigrants and refugees on a daily basis, due to our, cost of living, and due to secondary migrants, families who have families here, right? So we're seeing a lot more individuals coming into Louisville that we may have been seeing, in larger cities.
So around 100 different languages spoken in Louisville. How does that translate to JCPS in terms of?
So that's a very good question. So we have kept in touch with JCPS and their language department to see what their top 10 languages are, and have correlated that with our languages as well. So we have an I Speak card that actually uses the top 12 languages, and that incorporates the JCPS top 12 languages of what they're seeing as far as students who are a part of their school system and families that are a part of their school system. For me, this has been very beneficial because prior to coming on board as a language access coordinator, I was with JCPS for nearly 2 decades. Okay. So I was the multicultural specialist, and I worked with those kids and those families and some of that staff. So it's very nice to see JCPS and LMG often united.
Well, let's take a moment for a brief break.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
So Monica, before we went on break, you said there's approximately 100 different languages spoken within Louisville Metro, and you went on to talk about how that translates into what's happening with JCPS. How does that link to the economy and economics within Louisville, Jefferson County?
Sure. So I'm going to start with bringing it back to language cafes. So when we're looking at language cafes and the economy, for example, we are actually boosting the economy by bringing in folks into owned businesses, right, who are here locally in Louisville, who at other times may not have been busy, or at other times may not have somebody in there, or someone who may not know that they even exist, right? So we're boosting economy in that sense. At the same time, for the language cafes, we're going to be having language facilitators. So again, we are boosting their skills, in their language skills, we are boosting their resumes, and we're giving them opportunities to network in environments where, again, they could boost our own economy in Louisville. So if we look at it that way, there's no separating language access, language cafes, and our economy. Language access is providing that reasonable access to individuals who may not otherwise receive it, right? And so when they do receive it, it's a boost for our economy. So at any point, I think all of these things are integrated together because they are at a micro level of interaction that's constantly happening.
How does that affect when the language shifts?
Okay.
Explain that.
So if we look at it by example, right? So we're speaking in English. Used to be heavily German populated, right? So we had English, we had German. If you look at it, even a decade ago in our schools, or 2 decades ago, you had options of learning English, learning German, learning Italian. You had those options. You don't have those options today, right? So then as we shifted, you had those options of learning French, or you had the option of learning Spanish, right? So now I'm learning that there are states and cities, across the nation that are adding other languages. So I could be certified in Somali, or I could be certified in Arabic. Those are your language shifts, because as demographics change and as, the arrival of greater increasing numbers of refugees and immigrants, they bring their languages with them, and those change as well. So if you look at that language shift, it isn't still stuck in that same place. Yes, we have Germans. Yes, we have individuals who would like to learn Swedish or German or Polish, but we also have individuals that have brought other languages with them, right? So now we have individuals who want to learn Swahili, or who want to learn Mai, or who want to learn Tagalog, for example. Wow. So yes.
Now, I know that your position is basically internally. However, for our listeners,
Sure.
That need a resource, who would you recommend that they contact if they need help with translations or something like that?
So if they contact one of our Louisville Metro government departments, they can automatically ask for that translation help. So let's say they come here into Metro Hall. There's an I Speak card in Metro Hall. They can point to the language that they speak, and then they can be connected to a language line that offers that service for them. If it is an event at a community, they can contact me for a contact or a resource to a translation or vendor service. I'll be more than happy to provide that. They can call, for example, Public Health and Wellness, and they can ask again and say, yo hablo español. So they can say that, and they can be transferred to a language line as well.
And does that happen with public transportation? Is TARC included in that?
So TARC is, from what I understand, because I'm still new with learning all these departments within LMG, but I believe any of our affiliated agencies.
Okay, because they are unaffiliated.
Right, it is up to them.
Okay.
It will be up to them to provide that.
And are there any community partners that you work with?
I do. So for the language cafes, it is a collaborating project with Kentucky Refugee Ministries. It is also, our community partners are going to be our cafe owners. So Kiwa, Mocha and Company, Safai Coffee Shop will be out on Logan Street for that. And then Ziba, who will be providing some of the food for that as well. And I'm missing somebody, so I don't want to leave anybody out. Mocha and Company, Abol, the Ethiopian cafe shop. For language access, there are community partners that I partner with. So Catholic Charities again and Kentucky Refugee Ministries, individual partners who provide simultaneous interpretation, and then our nonprofits and our organizations serving immigrants and refugees. So La Casita or Adelante, Americana, and there's numerous.
And so what ways does this project align with and support the work?
For language access, specifically language access, a large part of language access is language proficiency. And so, as I said earlier, we are providing reasonable access to those who are not proficient in a particular language, right? So for language access, it's specific to English language proficiency, but our language cafes, it's specific to language proficiency depending on the language that you would like to learn. At the same time, it's a very easy way, I would say comfortable. Let's do comfortable. It's a very comfortable way to enter a space that is non-academic, that has no requirements from you, but other than to be there and want to learn, right?
How do you promote these cafes? Do you social media?
Yes, so right now we have promoted it on LinkedIn. We've promoted it on various social media outlets through Office for Immigrant Affairs. I believe even the mayor's office has promoted it. Facebook, Instagram, word of mouth. and through our partnering agencies.
How's the attendance been?
I am completely full with Spanish, completely full in French, completely full in Arabic at this moment, and Korean. I do have spots in other languages.
So you have to sign up in advance.
You have to sign up in advance. It's by registration only, so someone can either email me or they can go to the registration link that's provided for them.
Email you at
monica.laquani@louisvillekentucky.gov.
spell Laquani.
LaKhwani
So Monica.
.laquani@louisvilleky.gov.
Is there a phone number or anything like that?
Yes, but I don't remember my office phone number.
Okay. So go into louisvilleky.gov and they could search Office of Immigration
Correct.
Affairs and could get to you that way as well.
Yes, or they could even call and try 502-574-8784 and ask for Monica.
Okay. So we're getting to the end of the show, so I want to kind of wrap it up. What would you like to leave our listeners about two things? The Office of what you want them to know about the Office of Immigration, and then these language cafes.
So I'll start with the latter one first. One thing that I did want to share with you and the listeners is the language cafes. You do not need to commit to every single one of them. So for example, if you want to learn Spanish on Tuesdays, you could come in for 1. You could come in for 4. So there is no commitment for 8 of them for you to be there. And there's no fee, which is what we were providing to the community. So that's what I would like to leave to the
And
listeners.
remember, you have to sign up
You
in
have to sign up.
advance through the registration link, or you go on louisvilleky.gov/Office of Immigration.
Office for Immigrant Affairs.
Office for Immigrant Affairs, and then you can find the link and more information about the language.
There is even we have our own marketing. It's a global language cafe on Facebook, so you can even go on there and look for that, or look for that on Instagram because that's available. So one thing I will say for language cafes is, if you've ever been interested in a language, just want to come out and even listen to it, learn a little bit about the culture, come in and meet people, get some free snacks that are also cultural. That's very important, is just to even get yourself out there. Just get yourself out there, because 90% of learning a language is being present, right? So if you're present, at least you can pick up something. Office for Immigrant Affairs. I'm really proud of the people that I work with and the colleagues that I have. They're phenomenal, and each one of us is from a different region. So I have Amos is from Burundi, Vivian is from Panama, and then I was born in India. So all 3 of us are either immigrants or refugees. We're very passionate. We work with immigrant and refugees and in the nonprofit sector with our partners. We are frequently seen at tabled events, and we are looking forward to Welcoming Month, Welcoming Week, and World Fest, which is coming up.
2 things. What is the age for the cafe, for the participants of the language access?
We have not set an age.
Okay.
We want to make sure that it is inclusive. I do currently have high school and middle school students who are signed up, who are coming with their parents. So yes.
Awesome. And do you need any volunteers in your office?
We have 2 interns right now in the office, and if there is somebody who wants to volunteer, please have them reach out.
And they would go through the same. Give your email address again.
It's Monica, MONICA .Laquani, LAKHWANI @LouisvilleKY.gov.
Perfect.
Yep.
Any other final words you'd like to give?
I hope to see you there at the Language Cafe. July 23rd it starts.
July 23rd. Please go online or through the various social media platforms and look it up and sign up. Fill out that registration link. It's for 8 weeks. You don't have to attend
Correct.
all 8 weeks. You can attend one or you can attend them all.
Correct.
And you can learn one language or you can learn multiple
Languages. Correct.
Well, I was going to ask you, I know we still have about 3 minutes. So the individuals that are facilitating, talk a little bit about them.
They are native speakers of the language. So for example, the Portuguese facilitator is a native Portuguese speaker from Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil. So yes.
Wonderful.
So she will be able to share, the culture a little bit as well as the language. So all of our facilitators are native speakers.
Are there resources or materials that a person needs before they come to the cafe?
No, they do not need any resources prior. They may even receive resources or learn a little bit about the resources available in our area from the facilitator.
And I keep thinking.
You're good.
You're
good. Ask.
So the cafes, are they around the city or are they mostly in one area? Where are they typically?
So they are around the city. So for example, we have a few sessions at Logan Street Market. We have a few sessions in the Highlands area. Mocha and Company is in the Highlands. A Bowl is an Ethiopian cafe, and it is around Cannons Lane. And then Kiwa is out on Frankfurt.
Okay.
So it is in various locations.
Perfect. Monica, thank you so much. This has been very interesting. Feel free to come back at any time.
Will do. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching Metro Matters on Metro TV.
Did you know Louisville Metro government provides interpretation and translation services? Louisville Metro is a vibrant city that engages its residents and encourages new Americans to fully participate in and integrate into the social, civic, and economic fabric of their adopted city. In fact, Louisville has a diverse international community representing over 100 nations and speaking over 150 languages besides English. In June 2018, Louisville became the second city in the United States to obtain Certified Welcoming status. Certified Welcoming is a formal designation for cities and counties that have created policies and programs reflecting their values and commitment to immigrant inclusion. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 requires recipients of federal financial assistance to take reasonable steps to make their programs, services, and activities accessible by eligible persons with limited English proficiency, referred to as LEP persons. To this end, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and Louisville Metro Ordinance is foundational in providing language access. The goal of our language access efforts is to provide services to assist limited English proficient individuals obtain the same access to and understanding of services as native English speakers. Louisville Metro government has interpretation and translation services available. Through these services, residents can request interpretation and translation services free of charge, receive translation of vital documents in their native language, and provide feedback on services, programs, and resources with regards to language barriers. For more information on language access, visit our webpage through louisvilleky.gov, Office for Immigrant Affairs, and Language Access. The webpage is accessible in various languages. Click the tab on the top to select your language and learn more.